Slime is, quite frankly, an inferior version of Jelly Tails. A less natural moveset and generally a far worse implementation of jelly physics, an idea that Jelly Tails admittedly did really well, caused the mod to feel a little redundant in comparison. But let's dive into the specifics of why this is worse. Firstly, the moveset is simply not as good as Jelly Tails. You're going to be tired of me comparing the two by the end of this review, they're very similar in concept, so it's apt. Slime has an extremely strange jump that seems to have been edited for the sake of uniqueness, where, like in Donkey Kong Country, there's a delay between inputting the jump button and Slime actually jumping. While this became an icon on the DK Country games, that same success has not been emulated here. A key reason to that is because Slime has a charge jump mechanic, where the longer you hold down the jump button, the higher you jump. That's fine for most characters, allowing the option to choose between height and conserving momentum, but when you are also operating with a delay to jump, this feels completely unnatural. Perhaps it is my smooth, primitive brain talking, but at least personally, my automatic reaction to having a delay jump is to tap the button instead of holding it, in some futile attempt to make it come out quicker, but that just means you're going to fail to clear basically any jump in the game. Of course, the alternative is to hold the jump button fully every time you use it, but that removes any need for there to be a charge jump in the first place. Pressing the spin button with Slime will cause you to enter a spiky state, during which you can damage enemies and finally gain any actual form of bounciness. For some unbeknownst reason, Slime lacks any form of bounciness in his standard state. Another reason he feels less natural to use than Jelly Tails, and also far less fun. While in this spiky state, you can press the jump button to instantly seize it and stop bouncing, or press spin again to essentially gain a boost off any nearby floors or walls, if pressed while you're colliding with one. This is a good idea in concept, providing at least a small amount of strategy and depth to a character that otherwise lacks much, but it seems like this move is inconsistent. Sometimes, it feels like the boost is only given if the spin button is pressed while touching the wall, while other times it feels like the button needs to be pressed before you hit the wall so that the animation is still playing when you hit it. Even when it does work, the direction the boost suits you in is almost never feels like a natural direction that the boost should suit you. In general, locking the ability to bounce off surfaces behind a state that you're not always in just means that, for the majority of the time you're playing it, Slime never really feels like, well, a slime. Of course, Slime sprites are pretty simplistic, because when it comes down to it, he's basically a translucent green half-sphere. It has a lot of charm though, and he does look cute. Of course, though, the main draw is the whole squash and stretch factor with his animations. The animations are fairly basic, but that is well hidden under the layer of the wobbling he does with pretty much all his movements. For once, the comparison to Jelly Tails is going to be positive towards Slime, because the effects are much better here than with that mod, as Jelly Tails just kinda gets shorter or taller, and didn't really bend and flex during impacts like Slime does. Finally, the fact that Slime covers any enemies that don't get one shot in Slime is a nice touch, and I can't really think of any other mods that affected the appearance of an enemy after you hit them like this. Of course, that requires you to actually be able to hit the enemy while bouncing, but this is supposed to be a moment of positivity, so... Slime is a cute mod, and it's clear that there was effort put into the development of this character. The jelly physics are much better than Jelly Tails, and I think that a fair amount of my problems come from the conception of the moveset rather than outright execution, although I do still have some problems with that. A significant omission to this review is the multiplayer aspect, which, from the explanation of the mod page, seems to be better put together than a single player design, but I haven't touched on multiplayer for any other mods, so it seems unnecessary to start now. If you really want to, consider this a single player only review. I feel a 5 out of 10 is good enough for this mod, and my final recommendation is to also download Jelly Tails. At least personally, something about how that character is put together feels more natural than this. Since last video, I have managed to finish scripting and recording footage for the 500 subs special and have begun recording audio. The amount of subs my video have gotten recently have been pretty inconsistent, and that isn't probably helped by the fact that my upload schedule is all over the place for such short videos. However, if this is the final video before we hit the big 500, a quick message to subscribe to 500. Before you press that button, can you quickly check on my Twitter that I have actually finished the special? Considering that, ignoring the many breaks I took in between recording sessions, I have technically been working on it since about 400 subscribers. It'd be pretty embarrassing if it isn't ready by then. So, if there is no tweet about it being done, just hold off on that subscription, okay? Thanks for watching the video, and ciao.